more with no paywall. Head to DeWittDailyNews.com to get the local information you need to know.
Netflix buffering, YouTube spinning, devices not connecting, Zoom calls dropping. It's frustrating. Let's end your frustration by signing up for fiber internet in Clinton. Click the Connexus icon at DeWittDailyNews.com.
From the Heart Media Group newsroom and DeWittDailyNews.com, I'm Ben Hubbard with this expanded morning newscast. Good morning and thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Ben Hubbard. The news is brought to you by Baum Chevy Buick in Clinton, your Silverado headquarters, as well as Connexus, offering fiber internet in Clinton. Click their icon on DeWittDailyNews.com to find out more. The DeWitt County Public Safety Committee continued a long-standing discussion regarding intergovernmental agreements and contracts and payments from municipalities. Committee Chair Megan Myers indicates that a review of the current agreement raised questions regarding the original intent of the legal contracts. According to Myers, the existing language legally obligates the county to provide a far higher tier of service to participating municipalities than the county originally intended to offer.
Well, I think the must learn is we definitely need to make an adjustment. I don't know which is the best way to do it, either based on population or based on households. There needs to be an equitable way, I guess I'd say, to divide the cost amongst the different cities and villages that are participating. I think one of the things that we had is, as I recall, some of the information Grace gave us is that City of Clinton gets about 70% of the calls is within the city. And then I think on Farmer City and Mobile are the other ones that we have signed up. I don't know. When I look at the other agreements from other communities, it seems to be varied as how they arrived at the fee.
John Wirtz pointed out that state statutes establish baseline parameters for county animal control responsibilities, including managing rabies risks and responding to running dogs. He adds that if a city chooses to write hyper-local ordinances that exceed those state-level metrics, the municipality must figure out how to independently fund and execute those enforcement needs rather than relying on county personnel.
There's a lot of good examples here of Whiteside County and other counties. We did the cost study too.
Yep.
I guess it's a matter of sitting down and picking one that we want to try to.
Which one did you like the best?
Yeah. Well, the one that brings the most money to the animals.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure everybody would agree with that. And also with this, are we going to review the statutes, the county statute versus what the cities put out their own statute? Try to make it match somehow.
But Carter called for an immediate adjustment, noting the city of Clinton currently generates roughly 70% of all service calls received by the department, yet only contributes $15,000 annually to the animal control budget.
Yeah, I think we had discussed that before, John. I think that's a good idea. If we're going to provide services, then whatever ordinances they have need to match. They need to match ours. And then the other question I think we need to address is, once we kind of figure out the direction we want to go, reach out to Mr. Markwell and find out what specifics. I know with the current IGAs, there's been some question about what the intent was, and the language does not match the intent. The language obligates us to provide more services than the original intent was. So I think we need to clarify, are there services right now that we're providing? Because I think in the current IGA it says, and all other statutes and local ordinances. I don't feel like animal control really needs to be providing services for all of those. I think we need to take a look at that and make sure we've got some guidelines in place.
the county sets the statute. If the city wants to make their own statutes, and they can figure out how they're going to exceed those needs, because it's not our statute.
Right.
So
Tim Earle believes the county's actual total operational cost to run the animal control division reached roughly $235,000 last year. With Clinton's calls compromising the vast majority of that overhead, he calls a $15,000 flat fee not sustainable.
I'm with Rob. It's basically whatever we got cost, it's pretty simple math. 50% goes to Clinton, they pay it, and the other people divide up the rest of them. Pretty simple, straightforward, done. And that's it. I mean, like you said, I agree with Buck too, that $15,000 a year, Clinton is getting a good deal off the county. A great deal. And in fact, it's costing us what last year's was like, if I remember right, $235,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, $15,000 ain't cutting it. And I mean, and like I said, we give them time to figure it out. And like I said, I don't think unless the state statutes tells us one way or the other, if the city can take care of their own. And if they can get it cheaper, then that's just good for us.
Moving forward, Myers plans to coordinate with shelter leadership to analyze localized call data logs, check state statutory minimums with legal counsel, and draft a simplified flat fee or per call structure to present to municipal partners during upcoming administrative sessions.
Place in order. And I think too, I'll double check. We can double check with Grace, and I'll get you guys feedback. With the new software system, she's able to run some additional reports and try and figure out some more of the costs that they're incurring. We know what the building costs are from the cost study. And she's been trying to work on reducing the food costs and reducing the vet costs, and see if I can get some feedback from her. So we know each time, it'd be nice to know each time an animal comes to that door, what it's costing us.
A minimum.
A minimum.
Right.
And I know that they have cut back on some services to try and reduce, like, if they don't know if the dog's not going to be adopted, there's certain things that they don't do in lieu of waiting to see whether or not, to try and kind of keep costs low, but some things like they have to be vaccinated, otherwise we could have a December outbreak. So let me go back to her and ask her for that feedback to get you guys who can see. I feel as though if we could figure out a flat fee structure, it would be simpler overall, but also looking at the statutes and then check with Mr. Markle and find out what are we, what's great, what are we obligated, what's the animal control officer, if we're doing these, what's like the minimum statute by law that we have to pick up dogs at large, we have to handle rabies, to get a better idea on that.
No action was taken on the matter on Thursday. Coming up shortly on this expanded newscast, Farmer City provides update on America 250 plans. City of Clinton officials feel they are on the cusp of announcing the locations of the new City Hall, police, and fire facilities. Clinton Mayor Helen Michalossi and City Administrator Tony Harris say they are actively negotiating with local landowners to secure the necessary space for each entity.
Yeah, I think I said before that I felt like we had found a location for each of those. Understanding I am one of 5 votes. I'm committed to those 3 locations, and I do believe yesterday we moved a little closer. We're not going to announce where they are until we have secured the properties and have further conversation with the commissioners on the council.
We're in discussion with the landowner to secure the location. It's evolving.
Yeah.
What we are looking for the fire location, and speaking with the mayor and Commissioner Ballinger, we really need an entire block to make it work, just for a big enough building for the trucks. I mean, it's pretty sad when we're ordering trucks, spending more money because we order them to fit the current location. So a building big enough and room to maintain the trucks and parking, things like that. We feel like we need an entire city block, and that's what's been a challenge.
Sure.
Going forward for all sites, We're looking at not just what we need right now, but what's going to happen in 5 years. Clinton is growing, and what is that going to look like? So let's plan now and not be in the same position 5 years from now.
The city effectively requires an entire city block to accommodate a modern fire facility. The extensive footprint is necessary to guarantee adequate space for vehicle maintenance, staff parking, and housing the department's large emergency apparatus. Harris adds that the current cramped fire station forces the city to order custom trucks modified to fit the existing building, driving up equipment costs.
I will say it's been 42 years, I understand that people have been talking about a new firehouse. So if I say, hopefully by the end of June, this month, we're going to be able to announce those 3 locations, I would feel really good about that.
Yeah, we keep hearing that. We are going to announce it by the end of June. I mean, she really wants it announced, and that's why we've been doing this work that we're doing with meeting with landowners, having the conversation, because the mayor she told us, we have to get a location. We have got to stop kicking this can down the road, and she's right. I hope that this year is going to be where we're going to stop kicking that can and we're going to see all 3 of them.
Yeah.
That's exciting. That's very exciting.
Yeah.
If you think about that and you add what's also going on with we're going to be, I talked about it last time, we're going to see some activity on the west side of the county near the Sunset Inn on Sunrise Court. We're going to start seeing some activity there. We're growing, and it's exciting. And I think this summer it's really we're going to see it. We're going to see shovels in the ground.
The search for new facilities has been one of Mayor Michelassi's top priorities since she was elected in the spring of 2025. You're listening to the WHOW Morning Show. Let's take a quick break with a word from our sponsors.
Looking for a new Silverado? This is Scott Baum from Baum Chevrolet Buick here in Clinton. We have a good selection of new Silverado inventory. We have Silverados in 1500s, 2500s, and 3500s with several trim levels, custom, LT, RST, LTZ, and yes, even high countries. All our inventory is priced for our summer savings season. Baum Chevrolet Buick. Together, let's drive. BaumChevroletBuick.com right from the start.
It's the quiet moments you count on. A call that connects instantly, a show that never buffers, a home that just works. That's the difference with Connexus Fiber Internet. We built a buried fiber network designed for consistency, earning us the title of top-rated fiber internet provider in Illinois. With plans starting as low as $25 a month and 3-year price lock options, it's reliability you can feel without the unpredictability. Because with Connexus, connection means everything. Experience better at Connexus.com. Nothing connects us like Connexus.
News time is 20 minutes after the top of the hour. You're listening to the WHOW Morning Show. Farmer City has been working to develop its plan to honor and celebrate America 250 this July 4th. City Administrator Taylor Baxter indicates that the council recently approved a request for funding from the Fairground Association to help with the extra big fireworks display this year. The city has pledged $7,000 to the effort, and Baxter notes the display will be on July 3rd.
Council approved a request from the Farmer City Fair Association, and Farmer City and the Fair Association have partnered on fireworks expenses for many, many years, and we're happy to do that again. And so we're gonna spend a little bit more on fireworks this year. So the council last night approved up to $7,000 from the city's end, which is up quite a bit from our previous year. So we're excited to partner with them. The fireworks are going to be Friday, July 3rd, just at dusk or when it starts to get night, just when typical fireworks go off. But yeah, we're happy to partner with the Fair Association. They do a great job. We're thankful that they kind of take the lead on this, and we're able to throw some funds at it to make it an even more spectacular show. So we're excited for it. Some of the other events I haven't heard officially. Again, I've talked about it before. There's been some rumblings of some other things happening. I haven't heard much more on that. But yeah, the fireworks are for sure. It's a staple here in our community, and we're happy to keep that going again.
While America 250 plans in Farmer City have largely been community-led, Baxter indicates that the city has been having conversations about getting more involved in planning.
It definitely is more grassroots. I don't think that there's a committee There's been a couple of different people kind of talking behind the scenes, but I haven't heard an update lately on where those have landed. So, yeah, one of the things the city wants to do is, okay, how can we support? And maybe that's a financial role, or do we need to take on more of a lead role? So we're kind of getting to that time where we need to start making some decisions. And if things aren't moving forward, here's the reasons why, and here's where city staff could help. So we're kind of having those conversations right now, because that does require a lot of planning, a lot of time, a lot of effort. So those conversations are ongoing, but we want to get something going for sure. If people want to, continue to follow our social media pages, I'll put stuff out on the digital sign too, and then our website as well is where we really try to push information. cityoffarmercity.org, and then our Facebook pages too is where we're going to really push that info. So if people are interested in learning more, that's where they can go.
We'll have more from Baxter on the latest project updates in Farmer City in the days ahead from the Hart Media Group. The Illinois Soybean Association Agronomy Farm is planning a summer field day next month. The agronomy farm is located on US 51 in McLean County near Hayworth, says Illinois Soy's Abigail Peterson.
This will be a day where you can see plots that are really demonstrative and educating for the checkoff research to translate to the field. So that's where you can see our soybean breeder, Dr. Eliana Monteverde, talk about her different soybean varieties. And if you have questions about high oleic soybeans, you might have heard of Plenish or soy oleic, and where is that market opportunity, and what is that the actual oil and protein composition within those soybeans that are different from our standard varieties. That's one example. We have Dr. Jessica Rukowski, our wheat breeder. She has actually, right now the wheat is very visible on the field, but she has two different varieties of wheat. One that we are hoping that would be harvested early, so we can get our double crops in earlier, giving a better advantage to our ROI. So you'll be able to see, did that happen? Did the wheat variety actually make a difference with our planting optimization and give us better practice in central Illinois to do double crop soybeans, kind of pushing the envelope on where we do double crop soybeans. So there's all types of trials like that. We actually have the sulfur trial that I talked about as an action trial at the farm. So you can see that in action. There's going to be multiple plots, like I said, showcasing soybean production at its finest in the state, but also looking at, some of the systems that you wouldn't normally do at a farm or in industry. You wouldn't necessarily see it in industry. So a plot fully dedicated to conventional tillage every year compared to a plot that is looking at a soybean adapted system of strip tillage and cover crops and different type of management, seeing those side by side. So that's kind of the point of the farm too, is to be demonstrative, come ask questions, see it, and walk the field and meet the researchers.
The field day is July 16th. More information at ilsoy.org. For a fourth time, the Canton FFA chapter as a major state officer, Briar Nelson was elected Illinois FFA president on Thursday in Springfield.
Yeah, so my speech was about childhood TV shows, actually, and it was about how my favorite show was Power Rangers. And I was a Power Ranger for Halloween for 7 years straight. And that kind of, I talked about how those Power Rangers are ordinary people, and in FFA, we are ordinary people, but we can accomplish some extraordinary things when we try.
The rest of the newly elected Illinois FFA Major State Officer team, President Colin Johnson of the Franklin FFA, reporter Haven Cash from North Clay FFA, Secretary Owen Rigg from the Williamsville FFA, Treasurer Lane Perry from Marshall FFA, and Sentinel Levi German from the Nokomis FFA chapter. Working and playing in the summer sun for an extended period of time. Some skin cancer and melanoma awareness reminders from Dr. Robert McWilliams with the OSF Healthcare Cancer Institute.
We think about detecting melanoma specifically. There's A, B, C, D, and now E. So A is for asymmetry. In other words, if it's not a nice round mole or lesion, if there's some asymmetry to it, that would be suspicious. A B is the border. Is the border completely clear, or is it scalloped or irregular? That would increase the chance that could be cancer. C is the color. So if it's black or blue or it's not uniform, it's not a uniform brown, but there's different colors in it, that would increase the risk that it could be cancer. D is the diameter. So if it's bigger than a pencil eraser or 6 millimeters, that's more suspicious. And then E is probably the most important one. It's evolving. So if anything's changing, a mole used to be small and now it's big, or it's starting to bleed, or it's starting to itch, that's when I would make sure you're getting checked out by somebody. And so if you're, sometimes it takes a while to get in to see a dermatologist, and be persistent and tell them what you're concerned about, because it's something that we don't want to waste a lot of time trying to figure out what it is. If it's concerning, we want to make sure you're evaluated quickly.
Dr. McWilliams recommends sunscreen with an SPF or sun protection factor of 50. It should be applied every couple of hours if you spend extended periods of time in the sun. Now for your local obituaries. Donald Marvin Fugate, 88, of Springfield, formerly of Clinton, passed away on June 8th with his family and wife by his side. Services will be held at the Clinton United Methodist Church on June 15th with a visitation at 10 a.m., followed by a church service at 11 a.m. and the burial following at Weldon Cemetery. In lieu of flowers, memorials may be made to the Clinton United Methodist Church. Morin and Goebel Funeral Home is in charge of arrangements. Condolences and memorials may be shared at morinandgoebel.com. Get news anytime at DeWittDailyNews.com. Network news is now.
With SRN News, I'm Rich Thomason in Washington. President Trump says it could be signed as soon as this weekend, a deal with Iran to end the war, fully reopen the Strait of Hormuz, and guarantee that Iran will never get a nuclear weapon. The president spoke at the White House after calling off plans to attack Iran. FISA is about to expire. The law allowing the U.S. to gather intelligence overseas runs out at midnight after House and Senate lawmakers failed to extend it before leaving town. A lot of people without power this morning. Hundreds of thousands of outages, a result of violent storms that pounded parts of the Midwest, the Mid-Atlantic, and the Northeast. The Midwest really got slammed with multiple tornadoes, including several confirmed outside Chicago, and forecasters warn of the possibility of more severe weather later today. Wall Street, the Dow futures, 310 points higher. NASDAQ futures are up 149 points. More details, srnnews.com.
Maybe this is you too. There's enormous frustration right now with healthcare costs. It is amazing. Healthcare costs for families in the last 20 years have almost tripled, and it just keeps getting worse. All this to say, this is why MediShare is so in demand right now. People are looking for alternatives, and MediShare is proven you can save thousands of dollars a year and actually like it more. Over 1 million Americans are now part of healthcare sharing, and MediShare is the gold standard. It's trusted. It works. It's been helping people save money and have peace of mind now for 30 plus years. It's not some big impersonal thing either. It's a community of people like you helping each other. So yeah, if you're frustrated too, here's your chance to make a refreshing change. You'll notice the difference as soon as you call. They're easy to talk to. You can get a price within 2 minutes. Here is the number. Call 844-45-BIBLE. That's 844-45-BIBLE. 844-45-BIBLE.
From the Heart Media Group newsroom and DeWittDailyNews.com, I'm Ben Hubbard with this local sports report. In high school baseball state semifinal matchups for today, in Class 1A at the University of Illinois' Illinois Field, Tremont takes on Routt at 10 a.m. Then Putnam County will play North Clay at 1 p.m. In Class 2A at Illinois Field, Harvest Westminster takes on Freeburg at 4 p.m. And then Ottawa Marquette will play St. Joseph Ogden at 7 p.m. In Class 3A at the Joliet Slammer Stadium, St. Rita plays East Peoria at 10 a.m., and then Crystal Lake South takes on Triad at 1 p.m. And in Class 4A at the Joliet Slammers Stadium, Naperville Central will take on Maine South at 4 p.m., and Libertyville plays Chicago Mount Carmel at 7 p.m. Juan Soto hit a go-ahead homer in the 7th inning, and the New York Mets earned a 5-4 win over the St. Louis Cardinals on Thursday. Soto's shot off Jojo Romero, who is 0-2, allowed the Mets to avoid being swept for the 6th time this season. Alec Burleson opened the scoring with a 2-out blast in the first before the Mets responded with Bo Bichetti's 2-run shot, and Jared Young also went deep in the bottom half to give New York a 3-1 lead. St. Louis answered with Lars Nootbaar's solo shot and Jimmy Crook's 2-run homer in the second to give the Cards a 4-3 lead on an afternoon in which the first pitch temperature was 91 degrees and the wind was blowing out to right at 8 miles per hour. Every homer Thursday except Bichetti's went to right field. Young accounted for the game's only non-homer RBI with a game-tying 5th inning single. Mets starter Christian Scott gave up 4 runs and struck out 6 in 4 2/3 innings. The Cardinals' Hunter Dobbins allowed 3 runs with 5 strikeouts in 4 1/3 innings. Brooke Raley is 2-1 and threw a hitless 7th. Devin Williams earned his 9th save with a perfect 9th inning. The Cardinals continue a 6-game road trip on Friday when right-hander Kyle Leahy, who is 5-3 with a 4.42 ERA, starts against the Twins, and right-hander Joe Ryan, who is 4-3 with a 3.07 ERA. Mets right-hander Nolan McLean is 3-4 with a 3.98 ERA and gets the starts in the opener of a 3-game series against the visiting Atlanta Braves, who have yet to announce a starter. Seiya Suzuki hit his 3rd career grand slam. Alex Bregman added a 2-run homer, and the Chicago Cubs snapped a 3-game skid with a 9-3 win over the Colorado Rockies on Thursday. Chicago, which had scored 3 or fewer runs in 7 of its last 9 games before Thursday, had its highest run total since beating Pittsburgh 10-4 on May 27th. Cubs manager Craig Counsell was ejected in the top of the 6th by home plate umpire Luis Krupa after arguing Moises Ballesteros' double play grounder appeared to hit off his shin guard and should have been ruled a foul ball. Brett Sullivan hit 2 home runs, and Cole Carrig, who made his MLB debut Tuesday night, added a solo shot for Colorado. Rockies starter Ryan Feltner is 2-2 and retired the first 9 batters he faced before Pete Crow Armstrong led off the 4th with a single. The Cubs added another single and a walk to load the bases before Suzuki lined a sinker down the left field line for his 10th homer of the season and first grand slam since September of last season. The Cubs added 2 more runs in the 5th. Bregman hit his 6th homer in the 7th inning, and Carson Kelly capped the scoring with a solo shot, his 3rd in the 8th inning. Sullivan gave Colorado a 1-0 lead in the 3rd with his first home run, and Carrig hit one 418 feet into the Rockies bullpen in the 4th. Those were the only runs allowed by Chicago starter Edward Cabrera, who is 4-3, and left after retiring Hunter Goodman with 1 out in the 6th. Cabrera allowed 5 hits, 2 earned runs, and struck out 5. Sullivan added a single and homered in the 9th for his first career multi-homer game. The Cubs have not announced a starter for Friday's opener against Giants right-hander Landon Roop, who is 5-6 with a 4.00 ERA at San Francisco. The Rockies also have not announced a starter for Friday's opener against Athletics lefty Gage Jump, who is 2-1 with a 2.45 ERA in Las Vegas. Around the MLB yesterday, the Miami Marlins beat the Arizona Diamondbacks 2-0, while the Detroit Tigers shut out the Minnesota Twins 11-0. The Texas Rangers beat the Kansas City Royals 4-2, while the LA Dodgers beat the Pittsburgh Pirates 8-6. The Baltimore Orioles took down the Seattle Mariners 7-5, and the Chicago White Sox and the Atlanta Braves were set to play. However, that game was postponed. It will be played on August 20th, which was a free day in the schedule for both teams. The Sox will kick off a weekend series with the Dodgers tonight. Pregame on WHOW starts at 6 p.m. Andrei Svechnikov scored twice, and Sebastian Aho added a second-period goal in a breakout offensive game for both, helping the Carolina Hurricanes beat the Vegas Golden Knights 4-2 for a 3-2 lead in the best-of-7 series. Captain Jordan Staal found the net again for his fifth straight game in the series after Vegas had taken a 1-0 first-period lead, while Brandon Bussi finished with 23 saves in his second career postseason start. Game 6 is Sunday night in Las Vegas, with the Hurricanes playing for the chance to hoist the Stanley Cup for the first time since Brenda Moore captained them to the title in 2006. Aho's goal in the second period marked his first of the series, coming when Sean Walker found him cutting to the left side after Jordan Martinook swapped with Seth Jarvis to work alongside Aho, and Svechnikov in the top line won a puck battle behind the net on the forecheck. Then there was Svechnikov, who entered Thursday with 4 postseason goals before striking twice on the power play. On the first, he whipped a puck past Carter Hart on the right side for a 2-1 lead in the second period. On the second, he had a short put-away at the post off a sharp feed from Nikola Ehlers for a 4-1 lead, one of 3 assists for Ehlers on the night that included him having 2 delay-of-game penalties for putting the puck over the glass. Before those second-period scores, Vegas had outscored Carolina 9-1 in the second period during the series. And unlike most multi-goal leads in what has been a wild and thrilling series, this one held up with Bussi doing enough to stave off Vegas's late push to climb back in it. Pavel Dorofeyev scored twice for Vegas, finding the net for the first time since Game 1 of the Western Conference Final sweep of President's Trophy winner Colorado. Vegas had twice before been in a 2-2 series in these playoffs, in the first round against Utah and the second round against Anaheim. Both time the Golden Knights won Game 5 and closed out the series in Game 6. This time they'll have to win one on home ice to force the series back to Carolina for Game 7 on Wednesday night, and they'll have to take 2 in a row against the Hurricanes team that hasn't suffered consecutive losses since mid-January. Vegas played much of the night without center William Karlsson, who was being checked out on the bench for an apparent upper body injury. Karlsson skated to the tunnel midway through the second period and didn't return. In the World Cup, the USA men's national soccer team takes on Paraguay at SoFi Stadium tonight in Los Angeles at 8 p.m. And in the NBA Finals, the Knicks travel to San Antonio to take on the Spurs for Game 5 of the series on Saturday. New York currently leads the series 3-1. Get highlights of your local high school program by finding IL SportsWire on your preferred social media platforms, and get local sports anytime at DeWittDailyNews.com.
This is staff meteorologist Jennifer